Okay, let's go ahead and start. We'll add a plane, scale it on the x-axis. This is just for the wing. Add a few loop cuts in here, about, well, 12 is fine. And then let's go ahead and get rid of these vertices up here. We'll turn our proportional editing on. We'll pick sphere, pull this up like that. We'll grab this one. We'll switch back to sharp down here. Alright, that's about the shape of the back of the wing. Obviously there's a lot of flexibility here. I'm going to mirror that on the y-axis, which was Control M and then Y. And then what I'm going to do is grab this and pull this one down a bit. Maybe like that too. Okay, so that's about the shape we want there. So I'm just going to bridge these two edge loops, and then I'm going to duplicate everything and grab it down, or pull it down on the z-axis. We're looking for the thickness, the maximum thickness of the wing here. It's about that. So we'll grab this bottom piece and look at it from the front view. We'll pull that down. We just want to get a little more curve on this as it goes toward the body, and I think that's good. And then we'll grab both of these and scale them down, or pull them down a little bit, just so we get a curve to the entire wing. Looks good. Alright, so then what I'm going to do is just go ahead and bridge these edge loops. Okay, and then what we're going to do to get that wing shape is we'll bevel these. So just pick these edges, hit W, bevel. Alright, and that looks about right. We'll bevel it again. Oops. Okay, and we'll bevel it one more time. Good. Okay, let's go ahead and extrude this next. Bring it out a little bit on the x-axis, and we're going to scale it only on, oops, turn this off, and we're going to scale this only on the y-axis like that. Okay, so probably about right there. Then we're going to extrude that on the x-axis one more time, and this is going to be the center point for the body. So right about there. Don't want to make it too thick, so that's fine. Let's go ahead and bevel these, probably 3 times. Yeah, one more time. Actually, we didn't need to do that. I think it's good like that. So yeah, that's good. Then what we want to do is we're going to run one more loop cut around here, and we're going to cut this about like that. So let's get rid of these faces. Oops. That was the knife tool, by the way. Shift K. Remove doubles. And then I'm going to pick these, oops, these edges, make a face, make one face there. That should be good. And then I'm going to go to the side view here, Control 3. And we're going to come to the back, and we are going to just cut these faces right about there. Yeah, that's good. You can see we have a lot of little faces here. It's not ideal, but it'll be okay. We can also clean those up here in a second. So we're just picking everything that we created with the knife tool. Get rid of those. And I think we can merge these. Merge those at center with no problem. And merge that at last. And maybe these two. Yeah, that's good. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab these. Actually, let's do the mirror modifier first. And actually, let's bring this in just a little bit. Still turn my proportional editing back on. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Turn it off. Scale X0. Add a modifier mirror. Clipping, and let's Shift S, cursor to selection, tab out, origin to 3D cursor. There we go. Cool. So let's go ahead and do the engines in the back, and we're just going to grab these edges, extrude, scale them in. Okay, make a face, extrude Y, scale Y0. Okay, then we're just going to duplicate this face, deselect clipping for a second, scale that down, and we'll extrude that back on the Y-axis, like so. Okay, good. Let's go to the side view, select all of that, and we'll cut this at an angle, just like we did before, slightly different angle. And then what we're going to do is scale these down just a little. That should be good. Alright. Scale these just a tiny bit. Extrude them on the Y-axis. Okay. We don't need that. So I'm just going to bevel these sharp corners here. Where'd it go? There. Crap. Yeah. That's good for those. So let's go ahead and add the engines. Let's put the cursor here. I'll add a cylinder. 32, that's fine. Let's get rid of these faces. Rotate it by 90 degrees on the x-axis. We'll scale it down to about the widest point that we want it, here. We'll scale that on the y-axis like that. Let's put a couple loop cuts. Actually, before we do that, let's take all these faces for the wing and hide them. And we'll just grab these faces here. Alright, and we'll scale those on the x-axis, because I don't want to have a perfect circle. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, so unhide everything. Put in a few loop cuts here. That's good. And then we'll turn proportional editing back on. Scale it down on the front a little bit, and also on the back. And maybe we'll scale this up in the middle. We'll just sort of scale everything down a bit on the y-axis. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, and actually I like it without this last wing piece here. We'll just get rid of that. Okay, so let's go back to this. And we'll do a loop cut here. And I think we can leave the back the way it is, although I want to scale that down a little bit more. Towards the back. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so we'll just extrude these edges in. Turn that off. Make a face. Actually, before we do that, let's just grab all these and smooth vertex a couple times. Yeah, that looks better. We'll do the same thing up here. Okay, that's the basic shape of the engine. Although, let's grab these again. Make them, we'll stretch them a little bit on the y-axis. Bring them forward. Like that. Okay, that's good. So let's grab these edges here, just these very tips. That. And the one in front. And we're going to bring those forward. There we go. Now we'll just grab these edges, extrude, oops, scale Z. Okay. Extrude X, scale up just a little bit there. Actually, we don't even need to scale up. Just for the mounting piece right there. So let's do the cockpit. We'll grab this, duplicate it, move it in just a little bit, turn off proportional editing, bring it out, and bring it out one more time, move that in. Okay, so pull this down, and that looks pretty good. Extrude it on the Z-axis, scale it on the Z-axis, just sort of flip it. Okay, extrude it on the X, grab this edge back here, pull it up. It's about the right shape. So we'll grab these edges and extrude them back on the Y-axis, all the way to the back right there. So then let's bevel this 3 times, I think. Yeah, that's pretty good. Bevel this maybe twice. Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll go here and grab these. And this too, I think. And bevel those a few times. Okay, good. That's the basic cockpit shape. But I think I want this to come together a little bit more, so we'll just go ahead and use proportional editing to do that. Maybe a little down. Yeah. That looks good. And we'll just fill this in a little bit. We'll extrude this face. Oops. Scale it. Extrude it on the X all the way in. Delete it because we don't want it. And I think we can just leave that like that. That's fine. And we'll just go to the front. We'll put some sensors or other gear in here later. Okay, let's go to the side. Actually, get our knife tool back out. And of course this is just for the windshield here, or the canopy, I guess is the right term. So that's pretty good. We could have gone lower or higher, whatever you want to do. So we'll just grab these now, We'll extrude those and scale them in. Just sort of bring this edge forward a little and down, and just bring this one back. Great. So that's the cockpit. So let's do our landing gear. Go to the bottom view here, grab this edge slide. Well, we're not going to actually do the landing gear, but we're going to find a place for them. Bevel those a little bit. Pull this out. That's good. That's for the rear landing gear. Bevel these. And we'll probably have to bevel these a few times because it's a pretty sharp curve that we got. And then we can get rid of these edge loops because they're not necessary. Oops. And I think that one too. Okay. What we'll do is we'll grab these faces, extrude and scale. Turn clipping off. And one more time. Just brought that up. So there's your bottom landing gear, storage area, I guess, and we'll just do the front here. But on the front, we want clipping on. And pull those down, actually. Oh, you know what we want to do? We'll just duplicate this. It'll be easier that way. Yeah. Because the front's actually going to be just a box that kind of sticks up. Scale that out. Delete those faces because we don't need them. Delete these as well. Bevel those. Oops. And I think one more time. Get rid of these extra faces here in the middle. Okay, and I'm going to extrude these across the x-axis just so we can keep our curve. And we'll pick some of these. Okay, that works for the front landing gear. And then, looks like I went ahead and screwed this up. Must have accidentally selected some edges at some point, or extra faces to delete. No problem. And then the last thing we want to do is we'll just grab, say, this face here, duplicate it, scale it up. Just going to do a little air vent toward the front. Sort of pull that down there. And those are still too high. That's probably good. extrude that, pull it over, bevel that. Okay, that's good. Bevel that a couple times, like so. Go to the side view. Cut that. I'll just extrude this in a little bit. And extrude it back on the y-axis. And extrude it across on the x. Remove all doubles. Okay. That's that.